was released. LeBron tweeted this, all right, enough is enough. The throne has been played with too much, and I ain't for horseplay. Ether coming soon. We are joined by FS1 NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Chris, what are you hearing about all of this?
Well, this morning I have texted with David Griffin, and he said that a lot of his comments or the comments in this article were taken out of context. He said that the misery that he felt, in Cleveland came from the constant media scrutiny that, he went through being the GM for LeBron's teams. He also said that he is going to address this situation publicly later today. So I guess we'll get some type of statement or something from David Griffin later. As far as my reaction to the article, the way it was written, the thing that surprised me the most was the way it was put into this context, whether Griffin agrees with it or not. The way it was written, there was a great lack of appreciation for what LeBron James did for David Griffin. And that's really what surprised me the most. It came off like David Griffin would have been happier building, if LeBron had never come to Cleveland, and he builds the team around Kyrie Irving, and it's all about, can we make the playoffs? Can we get to the second round? Then can we become a contender in the conference? Maybe can we get to the finals? Like, he would have been happier doing that and never winning the championship or getting to the finals than what he had with LeBron, which was 3 straight trips to the NBA Finals, the only championship in any major sport in the last 52 years for the city of Cleveland, Ohio. So that really surprised me the most. Look, Griff is a good GM. Nobody disputes that. But had LeBron never gone to Cleveland, and Griff had nothing to do with that. He likes Griff, but Griff had absolutely nothing with to do with LeBron choosing to go back to the Cavaliers. If LeBron doesn't go back there and Griff builds up the team, the likelihood is that they probably never become a contender. They may never even make the playoffs. Griff eventually gets fired, and then he's not the sought-after and highly respected GM that he is now, and probably isn't the GM of the New Orleans Pelicans with what looks like a bright future right now. So that is what struck me. It just seemed like there was a real lack of appreciation, at least the way it was written, from David Griffin for what LeBron had done for him.
There is no lack of context, no out of context when misery is included in the discussion. And I agree with you, Chris, is that it seems to me he would have been much happier building this thing because, like he said, he used the word inorganic. Well, take your butt to Whole Foods, and they got all the organic food you want. He's like, this inorganic. So he would have been perfectly fine, because this is what I gather. And tell me if you agree with me, Chris. I gather, let me build it around Kyrie. If we get to the playoffs, that's fine and good. But if we never win a championship, I'm going to get the credit for building this. We get to the championship with LeBron James, I don't get none of the credit because everybody's saying this LeBron did this. LeBron put these pieces together. He only had to I wanted some younger guys, and we had to sign Mike Miller. I had to sign Kendrick Perkins. So it seems to me he's very unappreciative of the championship that I do not believe he would have got without LeBron. The other opportunity that he got because of LeBron, it seems to me that he wants to take shots from a distance now that he has a new position. The time to take the shot is when you're working for NBA TV. That's when you say, guys, look, I'm up here. Man, it was miserable. I mean, LeBron James signing one-year contracts, the constantly, the browbeating and yada, yada, yada. I had a terrible time. You don't wait till you go get you another job and you think you're sitting pretty. That, don't forget, LeBron James did, give you a nice recommendation, but that's neither here nor there. Don't forget where you came from, David Griffin. But you know what? I believe LeBron, he says ether's coming. I believe LeBron's going to take the high road. LeBron's door has always been open to players, coaches, and general managers. Name a player that didn't get paid that. Look at Kevin Love. Everything these guys do, Kevin Durant ain't have no media boardroom. That's a direct copy of Uninterrupted. Now all of a sudden these guys got media companies. Kevin Durant, Venture 35. Steph Curry. LeBron keeps his doors open, but everybody loves to take shots at the guy. That's all right. Your day coming. It's gonna be a day of reckoning when we hold up that trophy next year.
What
we got
trophy?
something for you.
For participation?
You know what? Larry O'Brien, in the words of Shaq, when you remember Chris, when Shaq won that trophy and he had that rap, he like, how my butt tastes, y'all. How it tastes.
Yeah. Is that what LeBron's going to say? Probably not.
Yep. I will be right there with you.
Chris Broussard, you are telling me that David Griffin is going to crumble and walk it all back. He's going to backtrack on everything he said in this article. Is that where we're heading?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Skip, because one thing I wasn't surprised at with the article was the candidness that Griffin showed. Griff is a very candid guy. He speaks his mind. And so it's going to be interesting to see what he says. But, yeah, it appears that he's going to certainly walk some of it back. And if I may, Skip, quickly, but I know you want to get to your point. And you'll remember this because you were around those Bulls. Very resentful that he never got credit for what he felt was building around Jordan and his contributions to those championship teams. Like, he didn't get credit for bringing in a Tony Kukoc and the other pieces that he put around Michael to win the championships. It was kind of like Jordan it was Jordan and the Jordan-aires, right?
Yep.
And when Jordan finally left with Phil Jackson, Krause was kind of relieved and happy that he was going to get to build a team the way he wanted to. And we've seen how that's worked out the last 20 years.
Remember, Krause pushed them all out the back door because he made it clear he was going to go hire Tim Floyd from Iowa State to replace the great Phil Jackson. And Michael said, I go where my coach goes, and if he's going out the door, I'm going out the door. And Michael stood by his word and, quote unquote, retired for 3 years before he went to Washington. So it was, Krause got his shot, and then what happened? Nothing happened. Okay, so back to these remarks. It's hard for me to see how you could take out of context a remark that LeBron got all the credit and none of the blame. I mean, that just stands by itself. It's hard to take out of context the fact that LeBron isn't the same animal, as he used the word, when it comes to winning. He wasn't as driven as he came to L.A. last year as he was in Cleveland to win a championship for his home area. Once it was won, David Griffin is telling the Sports Illustrated writer that was all there was. And by the way, LeBron validated that last year in some remarks he made at Boston when he said, this is all just icing on the cake. I've done all I set out to do in the NBA. So I think he pretty much validated my premise that LeBron came to L.A. more to chase Michael B. Jordan in Hollywood than Michael Jordan on the basketball court. So I thought everything rang true in the article, except I was shocked that David Griffin actually said it. Is it possible, Chris, because you and I know this sports writing business, is it possible that Griff just thought he was off the record on some of this, and the SI writer, a young writer, just went on the record with some things that he thought were off the record?
Well, it's always possible. I mean, obviously, you don't want to accuse the writer of doing that. But, you know, when you write a magazine piece, it's a lot different than writing a newspaper article. You know, newspaper article, you don't spend as much time with them. A magazine piece.
Because gambling is now going to become part of the product, and the cap keeps expanding every year. And his point was, if you don't let us market set now at our three positions, within 2 years, he said, we'll be the third paid or the fifth paid because it just keeps going up.
Yes.
Jerry knows that. Stephen knows that. They're going to figure that part out. But Stephen also has tossed out the fact that Texas has no state income tax. Does that count? Does that factor?
What's the difference?
Hey.
Yeah. It doesn't have. And
How about California state tax? You like that, Mr. Sharp?
No, I do not. Skip, I do not like
It's
that.
the worst.
But also, guess what? They don't have state income tax on businesses either. Is the Cowboys a business? So guess what? If I'm not paying state tax as an employee, you're not paying state tax as an employer. So in other words, you want me to suppress the market because you've already got your $275. The NFL has already cut Jerry Jones a check for $275 million, and he hadn't even cut the lights on in Jerry World yet. He hadn't even sold any local advertisement yet. He hasn't sold a T-shirt with Dak Prescott on it yet. But yet you want me to give you a discount. I'm putting myself in harm's reach, in harm's way. Skip, I want all my money. I don't want a little bit, parts of it. I want every dime in which I'm entitled to because I've outperformed. I performed. Now pay me based, Skip, my talent isn't based on your salary cap. I need my money.
Well,
I want my money, Skip.
You just told me that Dak Prescott was incredibly overrated. So, right? So why does he deserve any money? That's what you just told me, that you have proof positive. 1,100 NFL players said he's just not that good. So maybe Jerry should say, Dak, you're just not that good, right?
Okay, good. That's what they should do. That's what they should do and let him go. Let him hit the open market and see what he can get on the open market.
Yeah, and by the way, all the things you argue for the players' side, they could have argued when the collective bargaining was signed, but they all signed that dotted line. They all signed it. I'm with you on all those points. It's a one-way street in favor of the owners, but that's every owner in every city, not just Jerry, right?
Exactly, but Skip, I was not a part of that process at the time. Hopefully this time they'll take heed some of my advice. But Skip, they cannot allow Stephen Jones to suppress the market. The market is already what it is. Whether you give Amari Cooper $1 or $100,000 or $1 million more than what Michael Thomas. Skip, if they think that they're going to sign Amari Cooper for less than what they gave Michael Thomas. Now, Michael Thomas is going to 2 Pro Bowls. Amari Cooper is going to 3. Okay. If they think they're going to give him less than that, that's not happening.
So you like my receiver more than Michael Thomas? Is that what you just said?
No, that's not, no, Skip. No, Skip. See, you see what you do. You take everything that I try to say. No, Skip. Amari Cooper is playing. Is Amari Cooper in his what you call him? If I'm not mistaken, Skip, he's in his option year.
Yeah, no, he's
Michael Thomas had another year.
Okay, but Amari's scheduled to make $13.9 million. Dak is scheduled to make $2.1 because he was a 4th-round pick. Okay?
But my point is, Michael Thomas had another year.
Okay? Last quick point, opposite your first point that you made to start this discussion. You say quarterback suppressing market. There's one quarterback who suppressed it for the last 5 years. All he's done is win 6 Super Bowls. He plays up in Foxborough, and he just says, give me a hometown discount. I'm good because I want a better team around me. That's the ultimate quarterback, the best who ever played the game.
But let me ask you a question. How many other quarterbacks have come behind him and says, okay, if that's all Tom's taking, okay, I'll take that. You look at Rodgers, you look at Breeze, you look at Big Ben, you look at Eli, you look at all the quarterbacks that's gotten contracts since Tom Brady. Nobody is worried about Tom Brady.
Nope.
They're not going to allow these teams to suppress the market.
Yep.
And while, Skip, the money is the revenue is growing, and the owners are trying to suppress the market to keep more of it. And the players said, no, that's not going to happen, nor should it happen, nor should they allow it to happen.
Yeah. And we know LeBron has never suppressed the market.
Well, this ain't about LeBron. LeBron ain't got anything to do with this.
Just a quick little note. Sorry. Since you did bring up Tom, this is interesting because Shannon was so confident yesterday that the players
would... I'm great players. Stop playing.
Okay, but you can't build around 1 year, LeBron. You can only tweak. You can say, I'll get this vet and that vet. He's got kids coming of age. He's got those Lakers kids. He's got his own draft last year. He's still got a fairly young Drew Holiday, for that matter.
But see, the thing is, what Zion and these young Lakers don't understand that LeBron understood at a very young age is that the only way to keep my foot on their throat and keep this pressure to make sure they do what they say they're going to do is for me to sign these 1-year deals. Because the only threat I got, if I lock myself into 4 or 5 years, they're going to do, well, in year 3, there's like, nah, we good. But if I go year to year, if I do 1 plus an option or 2 plus an option, Now I'm going to keep that pressure on your neck, and I'm going to make sure you bring pieces in here that I want to compete every year. David Griffin, there is no summers off. There is no winters off. There is no all-star break for you. You must be on your grind on a daily basis.
He will be.
Anything else? Well, he got no choice. He didn't want to be that with LeBron. But for you, but for Brutus, that's his name. Brutus Griffin. It's no longer David Griffin. It's Brutus. Et tu, Brutus. Because Skip, do you realize we know who he is because of LeBron? We'd have never heard of no David Griffin if he doesn't go back to Cleveland. He's not getting this job if he didn't work with LeBron in Cleveland.
David Griffin just stabbed the king right in the back, and now he's trying to pull the knife back out like, well, I didn't do it.
Nah, we good.
Don't blame me.
We good. Nah, we good.
Huh.
I don't think LeBron's going to be tweeting out any more support
Probably
for any
not.
of
No.
family businesses
Bridge got
coming
burned.
up. Chris, thank you for joining us. We'll be waiting to hear from David Griffin, hopefully a statement coming from him later today.
I don't want to hear from him.
Thanks so much, Shannon. Appreciate that. I'm sure you want to tell us more about the Cowboys, though. Are their Super Bowl dreams already in trouble? We will discuss all that next.